you've already mentioned that some ingredients that humans consume are not always healthy for pets. Yes. So is there like specific ingredients that we take that are healthy for us that you guys would never include on your diet? On the Amigo diet, not
Amigo, yes, there are some, I think it's quite notorious. There are some human, or some food that humans consume that are not good for dogs. I think avo, if I'm not mistaken.
Grapes.
Grapes, exactly. Look, anything with sugar. Yeah. Dogs don't do well with sugar at all. Humans are good at regulating sugar in our blood system. Dogs are not good at regulating down sugar. In other words, this is another rabbit hole we're going into, but you've heard about ketosis, maybe? No? So in human nutrition, there's a trendy diet which advocates no carbs. Okay. So no carbs, meaning protein and fat, mostly part of the diet. I'm not a specialist, so I don't want to go too far into this, but basically it puts people into a state of ketosis, which is the liver has to process a lot of fat to maintain the blood sugar level to a certain level. Because when starch is being digested, it's basically starch is an accumulation or linking up of molecules of sugar. And digestion is about cutting these into smaller pieces so that they can cross the gut wall, okay, and end up in the bloodstream as sugar. So when a dog consumes starch, it's easy to have sugar level into its bloodstream because it's coming from the straight digestion. And why it's important to, when we're talking about sugar, glucose is the sugar of life, okay? So the dog's brain, the dog's organs, and the dog's muscles and the dog's body function on sugar, glucose. So it's not bad, it's good. That's very important because people think sugar is bad, my dog needs to, no. Whatever you're feeding your dog is going to end up as glucose. Okay, so the dog, contrary to us, that's where I want to make the link with the Banting diet. The dogs, contrary to us, they've got a very efficient way to convert fat and protein into glucose, okay? Because their brain, their organs, etc., need glucose, so they need to find a way to generate that glucose, even if they don't eat starch, okay? So they cannot go into ketosis for this reason, because they are a lot more able than us to metabolize fat and protein, particularly, into glucose. It's called neoglucogenesis. So you make glucose out of something new, neo, okay? Us as humans, we're not very efficient at doing this. When we do this, there's a lot of metabolic drag or inefficiencies that causes other benefits and advantages. I will leave this to a human nutritionist to debate. My point is, for a dog to get low blood sugar is almost impossible, because they are able to turn anything they eat into glucose, because that's what their body requires it. The side effect of this is very interesting. It means that you can have a dog that's exclusively eating protein and fat, raw food, for instance, and is short of protein. Because if I can explain quickly in another half an hour.
Don't worry, have the whole day.
If I can explain that quickly, because glucose metabolism is the highest priority of everything in terms of the metabolisms of the dog. In other words, if the dog's body has to decide what are the nutrients going to be used for, it's going to prioritize glucose synthesis. So if there's a little bit of protein and mostly fat in the diet, all that protein is going to be burnt to produce glucose, and therefore is not going to be available for muscle maintenance, for growth, for hormonal production, etc., etc. So you can have a dog that's not that's eating only protein and fat in proportions that are not enough to satisfy both the requirements in terms of glucose and in terms of muscle maintenance and protein and protein metabolism. And the dog's metabolism will choose glucose over protein. So it's a little bit difficult to wrap your head around that. You can have a situation where a dog is deficient in protein and yet it's eating protein. But the protein is not used for the right purpose. Yeah.
That is insane because, like Bonnie said, you would think because it's good for us, it would be good for them. But then some things actually work in the opposite direction with us and them.
The biggest misconception in pet nutrition is to think that your pet has the same need as you as the pet parent. Okay? The second biggest is to think that your pet is mature enough to make the right decisions on his own.
True.
Okay? So for me, I always say, it's a little bit like feeding children, you know, and we always refer to pets as furry children or our children, and they are to a large extent. But nutrition, we must also keep that in mind. If I ask my kids what they want to eat, and if they were to decide what they want to eat, they would eat ice cream and pizza all day long. Is it good? Yes. Is it good for them? No. I don't know. So if I transpose this to pet nutrition, it means that you need nutrition that is as healthy as veggies, let's say, and tastes like pizza. That's what you want for pet nutrition. So you come across people that are convinced of the other way around, you know. Somebody was telling me the other day she's feeding a dog Oros, you know.
What?
Yeah, Oros. The dog loves it, huh? The dog loves it, but
Your dog likes everything.
No, back to my sugar story. So dogs are very good at pushing the blood sugar up to where it should be from no starch intake, from protein and fat, if that's only what they eat. But they're not good at bringing it down. So when you feed your dogs an excess of sugar, it goes into the bloodstream very quickly, but then they really battle to bring it down. They're not good at this, so it creates a lot of issues with eyes, with kidneys, and so on.
Sure.
Yeah, so feeding dogs sugar is not a good idea. That's the first point of my answer. And that's why I think it's one of these reasons why grapes are not so great, because it's very sweet. Anything that contains sugar is not a good idea for dogs.
Sure, and imagine you think you're spoiling your pets while you're actually just killing them.
Yes, exactly. They're not going to say no.
Of course.
I'm not going to eat sweets. It's not good for me. They're going to have it.
And I think the most thing that pet parents know is that you can't give your pets chocolate, but they don't know fruits. There's certain fruits that your pets can take. That's right. So, there's certain vegetables that your pet can take. They just think it's vegetable. It's healthy for me. I mean, why not give it to my pets? So I think that's a conversation that
there's also some veggies that contain substances that are not good for pets. Onions, I believe, as well. Yeah, onions can be very problematic for dogs.
Sure.
Even when cooked.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Look, you need to research this a little bit more. Why and what? But there's something in onions that pets don't do well with at all.
Sure.
And yeah, if you give that to them, it's not good. Avos, I think particularly the skin of the avo is not good. There's something that's toxic for dogs. In chocolate, you mentioned chocolate. It's not only the sugar content in chocolate, it's also the risk of the presence of a toxin called theobromine, which dogs cannot detoxify. They cannot handle it. We can. I can eat large amount of chocolate
and still be fine.
Still be fine. I've experimented many dose levels. I'm fine. But dogs, a little bit of that toxin, and then for them, for their liver, it's a big problem.
Shame.
They're not humans. They're not like us.
I mean,
it's really important. Yeah, we want to believe. In many ways, they are because they've also been selected over the years to love us, to towards us and to observe us, and how good they are at knowing exactly what our habits are, what we're going to do when, and but they are different species, and they behave differently when it comes to certain foods and so on.
Sure. Which makes sense. So then would you say there's like a rise, obviously, of nutrition for humans as well on social media, people that are not qualified to speak on certain topics, but they give their expert advice. So would you say that trend is killing? Is it healthy or unhealthy? I think is the question I want to ask.
I think it's very unhealthy. I think it's very unhealthy because not everybody, but a lot of people claim to be expert in pet nutrition, but in fact they're expert in the little bit that they know. And it's very difficult to know what you don't know by definition, but also to understand the bigger picture when you only know so little. Yeah. And with social media, people are very vindicative, can be very aggressive because there's monetary interest, or if they have an audience and they're being challenged. For them, it's also a source of income that potentially disappears. So you see those videos or on social media, or people fighting with one another, saying, "Oh, he said this, he said that." And the reality is, your question was home cooking. Home cooking is very difficult to balance. It's very difficult to balance, and for a pet, we're talking about big quantities. If you compare what a pet is eating in proportion to its own body weight, it's a multiple of what we eat. We eat very little. I weigh 92 kilos, okay? And maybe in a day, I eat a couple of 100 grams of dry matter. So maybe it's, I don't know, less than a kilo in total of food, but it's mostly moisture. What we eat is largely fresh, largely wet. Yeah. So if you remove the moisture, what's left is called dry matter. It's really where the nutrition sits. It's a couple of 100 grams. But my dog eats that 2 or 3 times a day, and he weighs a fraction of my weight. So you understand? The proportion of what they eat versus their body size is a lot higher. So the risk of having a problem is a lot higher as well.
And what is the biggest myth that people are spreading, even on social media? She's talking about social media. What is the biggest myth that people are spreading on social media in terms of things that are on pet food that she just wants to clear right now?
I think home cooking being better, because it looks better, because it's for sure now said to take a picture of
content
than if you compare this to kibbles. Kibbles doesn't look so sexy or appealing, maybe. But if we're talking about nutrition, it's one topic. If we're talking about something that's good looking on pictures, it's something else. To want to merge those two ideas is very dangerous when you don't have the knowledge. Look, I don't really watch social media when it comes to pet nutrition, because it's not a very reliable source of content to me. Yeah. And also, maybe through the discussions you're gathering, it can be quite elaborate what we're talking about, and the drama of nutritional deficiencies is there's no immediate consequences. You can misfeed a puppy because you want to cook your food or her food yourself, and you will only see the result in 6, 7, 10 years time.
Imagine.
And by then it's too late. You've done damage that you cannot recover, and you only see it when the animal is starting to show symptoms of deficiencies or issues that happen at the beginning of their life, and people don't make that connection. Yeah. And it's what's terrible is that it starts with good intent. People want to, your way to interact with your pet is food and attention. So you can play with your dog, you can take him for a walk, you can interact, but so interaction and food is basically your way to communicate with the pet, to have a relationship with your pet. You're not going to sit and watch a movie with your dog. I don't. I don't. So the type of interaction that you have with your pet, and I'm not saying it's not meaningful. I'm just saying it's limited to food and a certain type of interaction, playing, taking them for a walk, and so on. So food is the easiest because you give food, treats, food, general food, etc. to your dog. Usually it's a bit of an event, you know. The dog is happy to be fed. It's you're happy to make your pet happy. The same with cats, you know. When I had cats before, when it's meal time, the cat is like sparkling alive, and there's emotions going on, and so people can easily get confused between the idea of pleasing their pets and building a relationship with them, and the idea of feeding them right. And you know, it's like pizza and
ice cream.
Pizza and ice cream. So it's very tempting to go in this, and because it's an emotional concept, if you challenge this, people get angry, like really upset. You know, so sometimes we get people contacting us, and the typical scenario would be, I tried so many food, nothing is working, my dog is itching like crazy, and they send you pictures of bald spot, and the dog has been... the first thing we do is we run through a checklist. Okay, so what is your dog eating? So usually they give you the food that they give their dog every day. But then you have to ask again, what else is your dog? Oh yeah, no,
What's on the side?
I'm also buying that sauce. And but that sauce, which is designed to stay on the shelves in a cupboard for 2 years, is full of antimicrobials, microbials. So it's substances that are destroying molds and bacteria. But the gut flora of a dog is also made of molds and bacteria. So that food is going to be ingested. Those substances, they're going to have a detrimental effect on the gut flora. So you depress the microbiota. So you depress and you challenge the immunity of the host, of the dog. So it's not, oh, I'm just putting some sauce to top it up and make my dog happy. There's also consequences in the rest. And I'm also giving him a biscuit every morning and every night. Yeah, but what is that biscuit made of? If your dog is sensitive to gluten and you're feeding an hypoallergenic diet, one biscuit every night is going to trigger that dog for 3 weeks.
Contradictory.
So you got to make a list. The amount of resistance for it's a bit Spartan, you know, a little bit. Sometimes I feel a bit bad to tell people stop feeding everything. That's fun. We have to exclude everything. We call it an exclusion diet, actually. We have to exclude everything that you're feeding that is potentially a risk, and then stick to this diet because it does not contain those potential allergens. Feed this for 2 months. 2 months is long. 2 months is 120 meals for a dog.
Imagine.
So for people to stop feeding treats for 120 days, 60 days, 120 meals, one morning, one evening, is excruciating because all of a sudden you tell them you are not allowed to talk to your children anymore.
Yeah.
You know? It's like if you tell this to a parent, it's like they would think, no.
How so?
Yes, exactly. So there's an emotional component that is very important.
So you obviously have your own baby Thor. In pet nutrition, have you tried to use Thor as like a taster or a test for your own food that you've developed?
No. We no, not Thor, but when we started, so we bought, myself and my business partner, we bought the company that makes Amigo Pet Food in 2018. And they were making some old brands that we decided to discontinue, and then we worked on Amigo, and then we launched. And the first batch of Amigo Confidence that we made, we just gave a few samples to different people, and of course I got so I had 2 dogs at the time, And they were the guinea pigs of Amigo Pet Food. So in terms of composition and makeup, you don't want to try this on pets. So we work with very well-established nutritional concepts. Like I said, peer-reviewed data. My ambition as a pet nutritionist is not to invent anything new. I think to be conservative and traditional and stick to what you know has a lot of value from a pet nutrition perspective. And it's also very easy to defend. If somebody wants to know why we're doing this and that, and I'm able to supply 10 peer-reviewed articles that are coming from all over the world, let's say sorghum. Sorghum is very well researched. All the superfood aspects that I mentioned before are documented properly. It's a lot stronger than if it's my own. No, I tested this on my pets 8 years ago. So that from a scientific perspective, it was very important to do this. But what you need to validate is that dogs are going to eat your food. So we made our first batch of Confidence, and then I got some samples for my dogs. And what was quite amazing, so we made 2 bowls with my kids, one with Confidence and one with the food they were eating before. And then we put them on the other side of the garden, and then we thought they were going to come and smell both bowls. But then I realized this is actually not how dogs operate. They know what is the environment like from a smell perspective without getting close. If you want to smell some food, I have to put the plate right here to actually smell what it smells like. Dogs, they know. When they come into a room like we see visually, our brain analyzes, okay, there's a light here, there's somebody, without thinking about it, we take a mental picture of what is visually offered to us. They do the same, but from an olfactive perspective. So they smell everything. You park outside your house and you've got treats in that bag. Don't try to hide it. Your dog knows the minute you park, he knows what's in that bag.
Yeah.
That's why we use dogs as detection for drugs, because they can pick up something that's been wrapped and wrapped and wrapped, or from very far. So my 2 dogs, we first let them both, and then it didn't work because 2 bowls, 2 dogs. So then we let the first one, and I remember she just went straight for the Confidence bowl, and I thought, no, she's not objective.
Yeah.
She needs to first smell the 2, and then we did it with 1, the 2, and eventually they just that's how they work. They know exactly what they want, and they don't even consider the food. And I remember we had 1 person working for us. The first night that she got a sample, she phoned me. She said she tried to mix it with the old food, and a dog is sorting out the Confidence pellets. And I thought to myself, she's not objective.
Yeah.
There's too much emotions. And then the next day, I got a call from somebody else that I knew a little bit less, that just told me that the same thing happened to a dog, and she sent me pictures. And the small dog it was a Yorkie, I think. So the Yorkie was picking out the Confidence kibbles. So Confidence, because of the ostrich, is very dark. The kibbles are very dark. So in the bowl, you could see dark and lighter kibbles, and the dog was picking out every Confidence kibbles.
It must have felt good for you.
Yes, but initially, I think the scientist in me didn't want to believe it, because I thought, no, this is not objective. It's the downside of science. You always want another round of validation and another round of validation. But yeah, eventually, and we still get that a lot. We still have people sending us pictures of dogs. Small dogs particularly, they take out kibbles, they go and eat it somewhere, and then they go back to it. So
Confidence booster.
Exactly. No,
I'm sure you guys are like,
it's also a good feeling. It's also a good feeling.
Yeah.
Initially, it was every time somebody was saying, "Oh, my dog is very fussy," and I was like, "That's what it works." And now it's like,
For sure.
Bring it on.
Yeah.
Bring it on. Yeah.
Sure, this is so educational. But just want to check, what actually motivated you to start pet food company? I think this was supposed to be our first question.
Yes.
But
We jump right into it.
we just went
So,
deep.
you know, people ask me this often, okay? And for me, my interest from the start, from when I was a child, that's what guided me to study animal science and animal nutrition, was always animals and science. Animals and science. This is what I wanted to do as a kid. And I loved physics, I loved biology, and I loved animals. So maybe it's not as romantic as you would like it to sound, but it's not like it was my dream as a 5-year-old. When I was asked what I wanted to do when I was 5 or 6, I also wanted to be a policeman or a professional soccer player.
Yes.
So I never said I want to make dog food. But I was working for a big corporate, and the opportunity came to be involved in a company making pet food, and the company wasn't doing so well. So for me, the dream was really the opportunity to shape something entirely. You don't get this often. You know, you start a job, it's a new job, but you take over something that was already done by other people. And in the case of Amigo Pet Food, we really had the opportunity to craft every aspect of pet nutrition to what I wanted to do, and that was a very exciting and build something from scratch. What was very exciting. It's not always easy because we started at a small scale, and it was like jack of all trade, master of none. But I used my level of expertise in different fields. My experience to build up, and it's a little bit like Lego, you know, one brick, and all of a sudden you're sitting with an edifice, a building that has a certain base, and that you can take higher and higher, and that's very satisfactory. What is very inspiring for me is the feedback that we get from pet parents. You know, there are people that are spontaneously sending us messages on social media or emails or through our website saying thank you. You know, thank you for what you've done, and it's this is extraordinary for me to realize. Like every week we get messages like this. You know, people that are their lives has been changed because of what we've done collectively as an organization, myself as a nutritionist included. And making sure that this is something that's reproducible time after time after time. In other words, I'm the guardian of the consistency of what we do. Because if it was so good on day 1, I want it to be so good on day 100, day 1,000, etc. And it's really really important. Yeah. So that's really what motivates me. Yeah.
That's nice.
That is really nice. So my question is, there is like a lot of discourse in terms of the unethical practices in terms of like the pet food making industry. How do you guys ensure that you stay within the ethical grounds of it all, right?
Yes, that's a very good question. It's a very good question. I think that the reality is, I can tell you the story I want to tell you. Eventually, if I want you to trust me, you need to be able to check on me whenever you want.
True.
Right? Okay?
Yeah.
So we have a very simple policy that allows us to reach this. Is we fully transparent, and we open our doors in terms of visiting the production facility to whoever wants to come and visit it. Okay? So it's something that you cannot do anywhere else in the pet food industry in South Africa and mostly and abroad as well. A lot of pet food brands that are imported, it's difficult. if you live in Durban to go and visit a factory in the UK. Okay?
Yeah.
But if you were in the UK, they would not allow you in. And we've had customers who were so impressed that they try to phone or try to email other pet food brands in South Africa, and it's systematically a no. With us, of course you need to make an appointment, and we take you through the whole process from start to finish. And what you see needs to match our story, because for instance, Amigo Pet Food doesn't use pork, because pork presents some issues as a source of protein. If you walk into our factory and you see we're busy making Amigo Confidence and we're pouring tons of pork into the mixer, it's going to defeat the confidence building exercise that we're going through. So for me, it's very important, first of all, because if you want to be trusted, you need to have no gray area, no secret. It's the easiest that we can do. But also because when you come to see our factory, you come as a pet owner, and although I'm a pet owner, I'm also the owner of a production facility, and we tend to forget what it is like to visit a facility like this if you have no background. And therefore, you want to see, and you don't want to see things that are done in a certain way. So for us, it's very important to build on the visitor's experience as well. After each visit, we have a discussion with the people who visit the plant. What is it that you like? What is it that you don't like? And it's a feedback session that is super important for me as well.
That's very important.
In terms of transparency as well, there's something that is very close to my heart. Is although we've got a large team of people interacting with clients and so on, all the communications that we get through our social media accounts, through our website, comes first through me. And
that's nice.
I'm able to answer a lot of questions of pet parents directly, without telling them who I am or what I know and so on, because it's not the purpose to either be intimidating or they're asking a question and I answer, and 99% of people, I don't tell them who I am. It's answering through WhatsApp or social media. But for me, it's very important because then I stay connected to our real customer base. Our real customers are the people who are feeding their dogs our food. Yes, the dog is a customer, but we need to have the trust of the pet parent, and that's a way to be fully transparent. Is not only being accountable, because people ask me directly, but also I'm the one who is handling a lot of what's happening in the background, so I'm better suited to answer. And it's something that Amigo Pet Food is a small company, but we're growing very fast, and as we grow, it's really something that I want to preserve. My ability to interact directly with pet owners this way, because there's a lot of value for us as well. So it's not only what value do we offer to clients, it's also this side of what we do in terms of transparency, in terms of communication and openness is also very important for me.
That's nice.
That is very rare as well.
Yeah,
that you're able to
rare.
go like behind the scenes and actually see the production.
And we really take a lot of people through the plant. So the plant is in Montsorbet. It's not easy from Durban or from Polokwane to take a walk to Montsorbet or take a trip to Montsorbet, but we get requests on a very regular basis, and we take people through the plant.
We'll plan that trip.
Please do.
We're definitely coming to Mossel Bay.
Please do. You'll see it's going to be a very interesting exercise for both of us.